Welcome, guys. We're back.
Yes, we are.
Hey, Chris, I forget. What's this thing called?
Well,
The Josh
the Josh,
Cast.
obviously. I mean, who else but Josh, right?
I don't know.
Couldn't be
I'm
me.
Josh.
I'm Chris, and today, in our weekly episode of the Josh Cast, we are covering
Zillathon.
during Godzillathon or Zillathon, however you would like to prefer it. We are doing. We are covering Kong, or oh my god, we are not yet. We're covering King Kong 1933 and Son of Kong 1933.
Yeah. We watched these definitely very recently.
Yeah, like we just fresh off of the double feature.
Yep. We definitely didn't watch these like several weeks ago, intending to record them. We didn't.
No, we wouldn't be able to do that,
No, that'd be really lame.
seeing as this is a weekly podcast.
Yeah, there literally isn't time for that because we this is like the next week from when we uploaded.
Yeah.
Um, so let's jump into this.
Yeah. So we'll start with drum roll.
Uh,
I don't know how that's going to sound actually. There we go. There we go. That's better. King Kong 1933.
Woo, monkey.
King Kong, released in 1933, directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Schoedsack. The latter directing movies that you've seen in English class, such as The Most Dangerous Game and The Monkey's Paw. And the other not doing much else than this film. He only has like 3 other film credits to his name, none of which I've heard of. Um, this film has some groundbreaking stop motion in it. The movie follows a famous director by the name of Carl Denham with a large crew going on an expedition to Skull Island, where they would film his newest and most dangerous picture yet, starring Jack Driscoll and Ann Darrow, who fall for each other. But when they arrive, they're greeted with a ritual from the natives of Skull Island, who are trying to sacrifice one of their women to Kong to be his wife. It's an interesting ritual. And after Kong decides I'm good. He chooses to steal Anne instead for himself, which Jack is not a big fan of because Jack is romantically entwined with her. So, the crew has to hunt down Kong while trying not to get killed by other monsters like dinosaurs. I mean, there was a few like big bugs. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Eventually, after they get Jack Driscoll saves Anne from Kong after her being taken to his cave and they climb down a rope and then eventually escape. Carl realizes this is way bigger than a movie. This could be his big break. And they sedate Kong in a way by shooting flares at him to knock him out and bring him back to New York for as a one-of-a-kind show. You know, they chain him up and they let the audience look at him. Kong doesn't like that, obviously. Who would? He breaks free and steals Anne out of her window and climbs up the Empire State Building, while Jack and Carl are trying to save her without getting Kong killed. Jack does not care, so he tells the army, and the army sends in planes, which shoot Kong down, resulting to his death, and resulting to Anne being left on top of the Empire State Building, which Jack goes to the top of, finds Anne, brings her down, confesses that he wants to marry her, and they agree to get married as the sunset fades and credits roll. Now, Josh,
Yeah.
what did you think of this movie? Let's get into our letterbox reviews.
All right. Yeah, because from my understanding, we do not totally agree on the movies this week.
We do not.
I gave King Kong 1933
Of course.
an 8 out of 10 with my rating system.
And I gave King Kong a 3 out of 5, or 3.5 out of 5, which is a 7. And right now, looking back on it, just watching it, I think it's more of a 6 out of 10, more of a 3.
Yikes.
Now, Josh, why don't you say what you liked about this film?
Um, yeah, for one, uh, I think with movies like this, um, you can't talk about it without talking about the just the massive impact it's had on cinema as like an art form. Um, so obviously this was the first uh it wasn't the first movie to use stop motion, but it was the first one to have such like wide popularity and really popularize the idea. Um, on top of that, uh, this is very much the kind of the progenitor of giant monster movies.
Yeah, that is
Um,
true.
so yeah, I think obviously keeping these things in mind while talking about uh, classic films is always very important. However, I also just enjoy watching this movie on its own merits.
Okay. What merits would those be?
Well, you don't think there are any?
I think there are some. I mean, the stop motion is great. Kong looks great. The dinosaurs look great. But I think, other than that, the movie has a very bad pacing problem at like hour 40 minutes. Like,
Interesting.
and I
I
can
don't find that at all.
really, I just like by the end of it, by the time they were in New York, I was so over it already. I mean,
I actually think this is a very well paced movie, personally.
really, for me, it just I just couldn't like it was so long for me. I couldn't get through it. Like I couldn't get through it. I got through it obviously. We watched it together. But it just like I don't think like if I was watching this for a podcast, I would be able to finish. If I I don't think if I wasn't watching this for a podcast, like if I wasn't watching it with you for the podcast, I would
Mhm.
not be able to go through it in one sitting. And I know that might be the Gen Z brain rot in
Yeah,
me.
you got cock brain.
But I just it was rough for me. I mean, it slows down so much when they get to the island. There's like this big standoff with the natives and then eventually they watch the ritual, and then they go back to the boat and they talk, and then they go back out, and then she gets stolen. That's a very slow part of the movie. And then at the end, I don't know. I think it should have been. I think it could have been done a lot quicker. But I also think that like if it was a lot quicker, it would be so much less iconic.
Hmm.
So I do think I do respect this how iconic and the filmmaking process how like crazy it was with the stop motion. Like it looks fantastic. Um, but yeah, it's just
It definitely
overall
holds up.
it does hold up, but overall it's just kind of outdated. Like the story and not the story in general, but just yeah, I would say the story in general is just kind of outdated.
Interesting. One thing you talked about that I specifically want to touch on is um, the idea that the story really slows down when they get to the island, and I actually agree with you. However, I think this is a very intentional choice um, to kind of build the suspense for when we eventually get to see Kong. Um, from the moment we first arrive in the village, uh, we see this big ceremony where people are dressed up like monkeys and they're chanting and singing songs and all that.
Hmm.
Um, and just with kind of the various things that people have talked about in this movie up until this point, there's like something weird going on with this island. Obviously, if you're watching the movie, you know what it's about. But
Yeah,
um, I just think the movie does a really good job at making the reveal of Kong feel like a big enough build up and a really awesome payoff.
that's fair. The last scene where he's climbing up the building, I mean, it's so hard not to appreciate how iconic that is. Him climbing up the
Mhm.
building and the plane shooting at him. It is a little underwhelming that they shoot him like three times. I remember it being like they shoot him like three times and he falls. Like I feel like they didn't save enough time to wrap it up at the end. You know what I mean? I feel like he could have fought a little harder than 2 minutes
Yeah,
killing him by like
I
shooting him
get
four
that.
times.
I get that.
Um, but then again, I do believe that this is probably the craziest thing to happen in New York involving skyscrapers and planes. So, like,
Yeah,
probably the craziest thing to ever happen in New York like that. So I do give it its merits then. Um, I am gonna say I do think that I will enjoy once we get to it. Peter Jackson's Kong
I was about to say that.
more.
I think you really will. From what I remember of that movie, I think it really benefits from all the advancements in cinema.
Hmm.
Like, for example, on top of the Empire State Building, um, I think the reason it's done that way in the original is just because uh, they didn't have the technology to make it like a big, like drawn out, really epic scene.
Yeah, I get that.
Uh,
Yeah.
Whereas they're actually able to really dig into that moment in the Peter Jackson film.
Hmm. I know it's weird saying that. I think I'm gonna like it more because it is literally like an hour and 20 minutes longer, and I have a pacing problem with the first one. But I genuinely do think that this, like, I'm a Peter Jackson guy. I feel like it'll have a lot more sauce than this film does.
Peter Jackson's good at making long movies.
Yeah, yeah, he needs to chill out a little bit. Like someone should
Kind of
tell
what
him that.
he's known for.
Yeah, I mean, I see a movie that's over 4 hours. I'm like, oh god, this is. And then I look and it's like, yeah, it's Peter Jackson.
Yeah. See that Return of the King with 4 hours and 20 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit through all this in one sitting.
I've only seen uh, Fellowship of the Ring, but I have seen. I watched Fellowship of the Ring, and then I watched the first with you, and then I watched the first like hour of it again with you recently,
Yeah.
which was fun. That movie is good. I should probably rewatch it and watch the other two.
Rewatch it again.
Honestly, like I was when we were rewatching like the first hour of it, I forget what we were doing, but we were just killing time. I was like, this is a really good movie.
No, honestly, I think um Fellowship is one of those movies where it really benefits from rewatches.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
like when I originally watched it, it was by far my least favorite of the trilogy. I think I gave like a 7 out of 10 or something. Now it's like a very strong 9 out of 10 for me.
hmm which is
And I do like it more than the Two Towers
My
now.
chest. Just King Kong.
gotcha. Yeah, I agree. I was looking through the letterbox of this movie um to make sure I was saying the name right, and I accidentally clicked on a link to Nicki Minaj Chun Li song
Hmm.
to the point where she says, "Bitch, it's King Kong," and that scared the shit out of me.
I
Okay,
mean, it is King Kong.
that's true. That's true. Um, yeah. Where did my? Oh no. Oh no, I lost my tab. Whatever. Um, so um, yeah. Continue what you're saying about Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I was just saying that I think Fellowship is one of those movies that really benefits from rewatches.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I rewatch it, I like it more.
That's interesting. I have a few of those movies. Um, like Avatar 1, I'm currently rewatching, and I watched it as a kid. I haven't seen it in a while. Like probably
Mhm.
since 2012 I haven't seen it. It's really good. A lot better than I remember. Like that movie's really good. Have you seen
Yeah,
Avatar?
yeah.
Have you seen the Oh, wait, no, you haven't seen the second one. I remember. You were
I've
supposed to
seen
see the second one.
like 30 minutes total,
Yeah, I know.
mixed from the start and end.
So for some context, podcast watchers, true believers, as one would say, um, I went to see Avatar: The Way of the Water with Josh and a couple of our other friends, who might be on the podcast soon. um, and it was in 3D, and it was like 8 o'clock showing after we all got dinner. So we're sitting down in the theater. 30 minutes go by, and I hear someone snoring to the right of me, and that someone was, of course, friend of the podcast, Josh. Um, and he was out
What?
cold for the next 2 hours of that movie, and then he woke up for the last 30 minutes of that movie. So he has only seen an hour of the movie in total,
Yeah,
which is
it was a really good hour.
yeah. I mean, I'm like, did you like what you saw at least?
Oh, I want to watch that whole movie. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's so good. It's a big one. It's 3 hours, but it's genuinely like James Cameron is a freaking fantastic director. It's
I mean, there's a reason why he's made uh what was it, 3 of the 4 top grossing films of all time?
yeah. I mean, when I watched Avatar 2 in the theaters, it was crazy because I hadn't seen Avatar 1 since I was a kid. So I was like, this movie's going to be bad. Because I didn't remember. I was like, I'm not going to like this movie. It's too long. It's going to be 3 hours of something that I don't care for. Because when I watched the first one, I did not like the first one as a kid. I thought it was boring. I thought it was blech. In the theater, watching that movie and just going, I get it now. Like, literally having a moment where you're like, I get why everyone says that the first one might be the best movie in the world. Because Way of Water is such a good experience. Like, oh my god, I wish I could relive that moment. It was awesome. I saw it
Yeah.
no, I saw it 4 times in theaters overall.
I wish I could relive that nap.
I saw it once normally the first time, then I saw it in Screen X with uh, a couple of our friends of the podcast, and then I saw it in 3D with Sleepy Josh, and then I saw it again in just regular format. Don't waste your money on Screen X, by the way. It's not great. It's very not great. But that's for
What
another
is
time.
Screen X?
So there's 3 screens. There's one screen on the wall where it should be, and then to the left on the other wall there's one screen, and to the right on the other screen there's one wall. But the thing is, so sometimes the movie will be playing like on 3 screens at once, and it'll be like this very immersive experience. But the thing is, their movies have not been filmed for that yet, right? So
Uh-huh.
there'll be like 30 minutes of the actual 3 hour movie where it's like on the 3 picture screens and it looks amazing, and then the rest of the movie, the other 2 screens just shut off, and it makes the other screen look really small. So it makes a bad viewing experience, which sucks. Like, it could help it if they put, like, depending on the movie, ambient lighting when it didn't have scenes there, but they didn't do that. It just shut off to black. Really, really not. I was really not a fan of it, but
Yeah, that sounds really jarring.
yeah, it's terrible. Stick to IMAX. IMAX is the best one I've found so far.
IMAX is the go.
IMAX is so, I saw -1 in IMAX, changed my life. I saw Dune 2 in IMAX, changed my life. It's just such
I
a
saw
good
Avengers
experience.
Endgame in IMAX. It changed my life.
Oh yeah. Oh, we saw Hereditary in IMAX for the re-release. That was fun.
Ooh,
That was
that
really
was
good.
really fucking good.
Yeah. we should probably get back to King Kong at some point.
I guess.
Yeah, I do think that this movie is good. It's just not like there's some movies. It's mostly old movies where people be like, I do not like this movie. It's not a good movie, but I just fuck with it to an certain level where I'm like, this movie's really good. I don't get why people can't like it.
Mm-hmm.
This, unfortunately, is not one of the cases. I'm gonna save it for soon, but Son of Kong is one of those cases.
Yikes.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. I really just this movie could not satisfy me the way I wanted it to. I was expecting to like it because I love King Kong. Like I love Skull Island. Love that movie. I, I like him in X Kong. I like him in versus Kong. I like him in the original versus Kong, which I watched on my laptop as a kid in the English dub version, and I was like, why are their mouths moving weird? I got it in a DVD $5 bin at Walmart. I remember it specifically. It was the Blu-ray too in the $5 bin. Nowadays, you charge an arm and a leg for a Blu-ray, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just this one wasn't for me, and that's okay. You know.
That's fine. I guess you're allowed to have opinions.
So, do you have any more to say about King Kong 1933?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool movie, besides for the racism and sexism.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
It does suck watching old movies sometimes because like you'll be like really messing with the movie, and then something will happen. And you'll be like, Jesus Christ!
yeah.
Like The Invisible Man, which was also released in the same year, 1933. Love that
Mhm.
movie to death. This Invisible Man's my favorite Universal monster movie. He doesn't get enough love. But there's a scene where like he's talking to his business partner or whatever while he's invisible. He's like, you don't get it. I can take over the world. I could kill anyone. I could rape anyone. It's like, whoa, dude. Okay, knock it off. You know what I mean? It's like you did not have to say that, and he doesn't. You know what I mean? But it's like it just irks me so bad when he says it. I'm like, oh, I was fucking with this movie so hard, and then it gets me back in. You know what I mean? It just sucks with old movies sometimes, getting like pulled out of it because of racism or sexism or just like
Just like out of pocket stuff.
yeah. um, but yeah, I give this movie a 3 out of 5, a 6 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I think this is the first movie on the podcast where my rating's been lower than yours.
I also think so, right? Because
How much? What did you rate Godzilla, the first one?
8 out of 10.
I think I have it as a 9 out of 10. So yeah, if
That's
not, I have it
funny.
as 9 out of 10. Anyways, um, so I say we move on to the best movie of the bunch right now.
Okay. Um. Okay, we're gonna talk about Son of Kong now. Carl Denham is now broke and being sued by everyone due to the King Kong incident. He flees the country with Captain Engelhorn to make money shipping cargo. While in the Dutch East Indies, he meets a woman named Hilda Peterson, who he's immediately smitten with. Hilda's father is killed in a fight. Denham meets with a man. with the man who told him about Skull Island, Nils Hellstrom, who informs Denham that there is a great treasure on Skull Island. With Hilda in tow, the group heads out. After a mutiny, Hellstrom, Denham, Englehorn, Hilda, and Charlie are sent adrift in a dinghy. They land on Skull Island. While searching for the treasure, the group discovers and befriends a young giant ape that Denham believes to be Kong's son. The group is attacked by many creatures, but the young Kong protects them. They find the treasure as a great storm begins to sink the island. Hellstrom is killed by an Elasmosaurus. Kong helps the group get back to their dinghy, but drowns in the process. The group is saved by a rescue ship where Denham reflects on what happened and says they are to split the treasure between them 4 ways. Hilda responds that splitting it 3 ways will be enough, since the two of them are now a couple. Yikes.
Before we get into a fight, I just want to say this movie is 20 minutes shorter than its predecessor. Right.
Yeah, and it feels so much longer.
That is so not true. I think that it's very reminiscent of Raids Again, but if they did Raids Again in a way better way. I'm not saying this is the best movie of all time. I'm just
This
saying
is worse than Raids Again.
that's not true. So,
According to, let's do ratings.
okay, yeah, you do your rating.
3 out of 10.
Okay. That's not great.
No, it's not.
Pardon me. I give it an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10.
Listen,
Oh my god.
I really like Lumpy. I think he's a good addition to the Kong lore. I like Carl Denham's character in this movie a lot more. He gets to reflect, and I like his story of trying to help Lumpy because he indirectly killed his father Kong. I think that's a lot more interesting than the other film. I like the part where Lumpy, his son, King Kong's son, puts the shotgun in his mouth and almost shoots his head off. I think that part's really funny. And then this Lumpy sacrificing himself at the end by letting Carl get to his ship is really nice. I think it's a good movie, a way better movie overall, and it's a lot cleaner. Like it's a lot in and out. It's literally an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah. I think this movie has a major pacing problem.
And that's fair because I do not.
Yeah, so we're kind of switching roles from King Kong.
Yeah, no, we really are. I mean, it's very reminiscent of Raids Again though, with the at the end the monster getting like trapped, but instead of ice, it's water. Is it ice in
Yeah,
Raids Again or is it salt? It's ice, right?
it's ice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gets like buried in an avalanche or something.
yeah. It's kind of reminiscent, I think. And yeah.
I can agree with that.
My question is, going forward, I haven't seen God. My question is going forward. I haven't seen King Kong versus Godzilla since I was 8 on my laptop.
Mhm.
I don't remember the war. How is Kong alive in it? Do they just brush it off and just say, "Oh, he's back," or do they just not even? Are these not even
Do
part
you
of the
want the
lore?
answer? I know the answer.
What's the answer?
It's just a different timeline.
Different time. Okay, that's what I thought it was going to be. It's just not
Yeah.
connected to these movies. Okay, yeah, I get that. That's the most one that makes the most sense. But
Um, yeah, I don't like this movie.
okay,
It's 70 minutes long. They
that's
don't get to the island until over halfway through.
yes,
Uh, and and Kong doesn't show up until there's 20 minutes left of the movie.
true.
Um, and I don't like any of the characters. Well,
Why?
it's there's Denim.
What about
Like
What?
Denim's in this, but he's worse than he was in the first movie.
That's not
I
true.
like Charlie.
I
Charlie the
was gonna
chef's
say, what
always
about
great.
Charlie the cook? He's a fun returning character. Um, and he survives at the end and he gets money. Like,
Yeah, get that bag, Charlie.
good for him. I like the captain in this too. I think he's also a good. Um, I like the captain's relationship with Carl. I like that they feel like they're good buddies, as they didn't really in the first one. They just kind of felt like business partners. In this one,
Hmm.
it really kind of explores their friendship a little bit more. You know, they look out for each other. I mean, they go to the carnival where the lady is performing with her father to find her, and then you know, it's
I do like the three monkeys.
the three monkeys. That's fun. That's a little bit of foreshadowing, if you know what I'm saying. A little bit of foreshadowing.
Yes, it definitely is.
Foreshadowing there being another big monkey. Um,
Yeah, they fuse together.
I think Lumpy also just looks really good in this movie. I think the stop motion looks great, and I like his design. I like that he just isn't Kong again. You know what I mean? I like that he has white fur. I like that he's smaller. I like that. I like that it's variation. They're not just making the same movie again.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I just really mess with it. I mean, it's not one of my favorite movies ever. I'm not gonna put it on my letterbox list of favorite movies ever, but I appreciate it.
I feel like this isn't one of those movies for me where like I like hate it with like a rage and passion. It's just it's so whatever for me.
Hmm.
Like I don't even have any like strong opinions on it. I just don't like it.
That's fair.
Uh, One specific thing I don't really care for is the ending where the island literally sinks.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
the
fair.
kind of nonsensical.
That's true. It is very kind of nonsensical. Like out of nowhere, it just kind of happens. I get that. I get
Yeah.
it's yeah, but I think I don't know. It's personally it didn't take me out of the movie too much. I was like, this is interesting that the way that they're doing this, but did not take me out.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the fact that this movie seems to reveal that Kongs just understand English?
I knew. See, here's the thing. I knew you were gonna bring it up, and my rebuttal is, why the hell not?
Amen.
No, but I'm serious. Like, I mean, it's just fun. You know what I mean? It's nothing too stupid. I mean, it is stupid.
I guess. Yeah, we'll see how I feel when we get to God, what's the that one Godzilla movie with the kid?
All monsters attack. I believe
Yeah,
it's the only other
where he
Godzilla.
talks with Manila.
Yeah, that's. I can't wait for our debate on that movie because I actually like that movie.
Hey, who knows? I haven't seen it. I might like it.
That's true. Yeah,
I
all
don't
monsters
think I
attack.
will, but I'm open to
I
liking it.
don't think you will either, but I think it's a really fun time. It was what I watched to prepare for. I was about to go see -1, and I realized I hadn't seen any Japanese Godzilla movies, and I thought, okay, I'll go on to Max and I'll see which one sounds the coolest. and All Monsters Attack, I was like, oh shit, there's probably a bunch of them in this one. And then I realized it was a sweet drama about a kid with no friends finding his confidence to.
Hey, there is a bunch of monsters in it.
Yeah, but all of the monster footage, or I would say 98% of it, is just footage from Son of Godzilla.
Yeah,
So that does take up some points.
you
For me.
probably would. You probably would have been better off with some like Destroy All Monsters.
Or just the original.
Yeah, actually.
I don't know why I didn't watch the original. I was like, I kind of just want to watch something fun. It was because, like, I don't know. I don't remember. It was something stupid. I was probably tired after school, and I was like, I want to watch something that I can just turn my brain off, and I don't want to have to think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this movie. It's 70 minutes. I think it's a good movie. I think you should, the viewer, I'm pointing to you, should watch it and email us at therealjoshcast@gmail.com and let us know what you think. Or follow us
Yeah,
on
go form
Letterboxd.
your own opinion.
Go form your own opinion. Don't listen to two guys on the internet all the time. Maybe go out. Maybe, you know, get some fresh air.
Yeah.
And then come back,
Do
pop
some
on a
math.
movie, do some meth, some quick meth right before the movie, pop on the movie. If you do meth before this movie, you're gonna love it.
That's probably true.
Can we Pavlovianly train someone like every time we put on, like we should get one of our friends, right? And every time we hang out with them, we only put on Son of Kong, but we also give them heroin. And then one time, put on Son of Kong and not give them heroin and see how fast it takes for them to kill us.
I think we are going to try this out.
I'm so down for that. Stay tuned for our next episode. That would be awesome. We'd be the first to do it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can reveal what movie we're doing next, which is pretty obvious if you have a
If you've
brain.
been following along.
Yeah.
So far, and for most of this, we're going to be doing 2 movies a week, but next week, and it will be next week.
Yes, it will.
We are we're only doing 1 movie. The big event movie that kind of sets Godzilla off on his grand journey that got us to where we are today. And that movie is what, Chris?
King Kong versus Godzilla,
Woo!
1950 something.
Who are you rooting for?
See, me personally, if it was Lumpy in there, I'd be rooting for Lumpy. But it's not. So I can't root for Kong because I don't fuck with him as much. So I gotta root for my man Godzilla.
I'm a Kong head.
Yeah. Chris Zilla and Josh, King Josh, signing off. Follow us on Letterboxd.
Yeah, follow us, please. I need followers.
Me too.
All right. Yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.